my entire life changed. No longer did I want to be a corporate person. I just wanted to be with her. I just didn't want to go back to that environment. I had no clue what I was going to do. Advertising. Garbage. Advertising. No, they didn't relate. Where there is a will, there's a way, but nothing moves you faster than fear. And for me, that fear was not wanting to, or basically to be without her. I built up that company for 2 years, and it was successful. To say it easiest, it was garbage to beauty.
Welcome to Becoming Her. I'm Melissa Thompson. This is a podcast about lifelong evolution for the woman who knows she's not finished, not behind, not late, just in the making. And that's exactly where you're supposed to be.
Hi, and welcome back to Becoming Her. It was brought to my attention that I haven't really shared the story of who I was before I became the founder of a beauty brand. And to say it easiest, it was garbage to beauty. Let me explain. So years ago, when I was, I believe, 21, I started working at a garbage company. It was the biggest garbage company in North America, but I did accounting for them, office manager work, and all things. At the time, I was very excited in where my career was headed with this business until I had my baby girl. And I was first pregnant, didn't know what was about to happen. My entire life changed, obviously. Priorities, perspectives. No longer did I want to be a corporate person hustling, driving in every day, commuting, all things. I just wanted to be with her. So after I gave birth to my daughter, I decided that I would figure it out, which meant I had no clue what I was going to do. I just didn't want to go back to that environment. And I've always said, where there is a will, there's a way, but nothing moves you faster than fear. And for me, that fear was not wanting to, or basically to be without her. So I got to work on doing, for lack of better words, resumes. I lived by a college in California and decided that it would be a very smart idea to do resumes for college students. Well, number one, that doesn't pay a lot. They can't pay you a lot. Number two, it was a lot of work. And number three, I couldn't stand it. But you do what you got to do. And at one point, I came across a company who was doing advertising. It was back in the day, multimedia advertising, which was cable television, radio, newspaper, and coupon booklets that went out to 70,000 homes across the county in California. And I started doing her bookkeeping because accounting I could do. And she was an amazing person, just not the strongest businesswoman. And when her business went under, I decided I would figure it out and I would do it. Advertising. Garbage. Advertising. No, they didn't relate, but I figured I would learn. And I just went to work, cold calls, doing all things. I built up that company for 2 years, and it was successful. So much so that I had to put an ad in to hire somebody to help me as an independent sales representative. Although the business was doing great, I wasn't loving it, because you can have things that you think you want to come true, and it ends up being something completely different. You see, back in the day, we're talking in the 90s, this was, or as people like to say now, back in the 1900s, this was a whole different world. Advertising was very much a man's world. I had to dress like a man and act like a man, and it was a complete different animal. And I just was not passionate about what I was doing, but successful enough that I had to hire. So I opened the newspaper one day to check out my ad that I was running. And next to it, it said, become an Avon representative for $25. Now, mind you, at the time, I wasn't looking for anything like that, but my sister-in-law, who had just moved from Texas, asked if I knew of any Avon ladies. I answered that ad for her and to put an ad out for myself. It used to be like a co-op advertising, just to see how it would work. And the rest, literally, is history. Let me explain. I ended up finding something that I was passionate about. Makeup, sure, but helping other entrepreneurs succeed, I found my calling. I knew it was something that would be part of my life forever. The company as a whole hired me to work directly for the corporation to help entrepreneurs grow their businesses. And there's a lot of meat in between that story, but that truly is the essence of how I found social entrepreneurship. The thing is, I found something much, much more. I was still running my advertising company before giving up and moving into that corporate role for them. But I can remember the exact moment of knowing I was where I was supposed to be, like it was yesterday, because it was a party at a country Waffles. For those of you who don't understand what that is, it's like a local diner. And that's where they would do recognition. I was an independent representative for them first. And that is why they offered this job. But I was in that diner, walked in. It was a event. I got dressed up. I put makeup on. I did my hair. I had the perfect shade of red lipstick. I remember it like it was yesterday. But I walked into that room and I was recognized. I've been building my own business for 2 years without any support, without any help, not feeling passionate, not feeling beautiful. But in that moment, in the back of a country Waffles, I felt beautiful. I felt seen. I felt appreciated. And that moment changed everything for me. When that job was offered, I took it. And I started my 31-year career in an industry that I am equally as obsessed about as I am beauty and wellness. And I was able to combine them all together. I've been fortunate enough to work with the top brands in the entire industry. Some of the most amazing historical brands, legacy brands. And I've worked with younger startup brands, but it truly was something that was just in my heart. And back at one of the times prior to starting my own, my daughter was sitting with us at dinner, and my husband, Scott, said, one day we're going to do a business of our own. We're going to start something that's going to help other people. And my daughter was talking and everything put together. And she said, well, you've been at a garbage company, you've been at beauty, you've been at wellness. She said, garbage to beauty, Mom. That's what you've done. And we've coined it. It's been the perfect story to how we've evolved. But as we went on and I continued in this beautiful industry, there came a point where it was like you're Goldilocks. You're sitting at every seat and nothing feels quite right. Someone asked me recently, how did you become an entrepreneur? The truth is, I think entrepreneurship picks you. It singles you out because you realize that something can be bigger, better, and that you're meant for more. There are so many beautiful industries in the world and so many fulfilling roles that people can do and serve others. But there's something spectacular about being an entrepreneur. It's not just about calling your own hours, because let's face it, true entrepreneurs know your hours are about triple the hours you'd be working in a corporate role. It isn't just about flexibility, because true entrepreneurs know that even when you're on vacation, You're so flexible that you can work. And it's not about the money, because true entrepreneurs know that you have to do a whole lot of hustling before you see the rewards. It's just something in you that proves that you can build something bigger, brighter, better, not just for you, but for those that you serve. So we started our own brand, and I already loved formulations and all things, but being able to get behind the scenes and truly build and formulate products that bring women and men confidence in the skin that they're in, well, that's priceless. Putting milk on the table for the partners that share our products, that's everything. But my entrepreneur journey, it's been a beautiful winding road, which I also realize now along the way, it's lessons you learn. There was not AI when I started, but there was a lot of Google. And I once said if I was ever interviewed and somebody asked how I did it, I would simply say I Googled it all. And the truth is, you do. You find out. If anything, I believe schools should really teach young children entrepreneurship just as much as they teach other things, especially in the world we live in today. When we launched, it was prior to COVID, and so many different obstacles and things that happen. I kind of feel like when you find your passion and you run with it, sometimes that's the easiest part. But it's almost like playing a game of mercy, because things are going to come your way. Things are going to happen. You have to be resilient. You have to be so passionate about your mission and about what you're doing that you can jump all obstacles, because there will be obstacles. Some of the most resilient entrepreneurs I've ever met are the ones who stay hungry. Doesn't matter how big their businesses get, how big their homes are, how much is in their bank account. They stay hungry about why they started. Once you lose that passion, everything will change. And for me, COVID was what almost made that happen. It was one of those moments in time that our young business had just come back from selling out of product within our first 6 months of launch. We were back on track. Things were amazing. Everything was just incredible. And then the entire world shut down. That is where you are forced to get passionate beyond measure. There were so many things that we had to deal with, especially being a small beauty brand, an indie brand compared to the big billion-dollar brands out there. We only had passion and amazing products, and that is what we ran with. But it was one obstacle after another, and the list just continues to go on. It will go on. And as long as we can stay hungry about the mission, everything else is the means to it. That's it. That's all it becomes. So if there's an obstacle, you take it up like Pac-Man and you eat it, you digest it, and let it make you stronger. One of my favorite quotes is that of that whole premise of, when something happens to you, it's not about allowing it to change you. Instead, you allow it to make you more passionate, more hungry, more everything. That's what it's all about. Whether it is life and entrepreneurship, just doing life, or anything. One of my favorite quotes references never allowing a difficult situation to reduce you. And that says it all. Because in entrepreneurship, every single moment you wake up, there is something happening. But how beautiful to have an opportunity to make a difference, not only in something that you're passionate about, but bringing it to life and serving others through it. So it's actually quite fitting that my daughter so long ago called my journey garbage to beauty, because that really is entrepreneurship as a whole. It is taking something and molding it to make it beautiful, like a piece of clay. That's what we do. We work with things, we bring it to life. So garbage to beauty might be a little bit of recycling to beauty, but it is something that I would never change for anything, because it's allowed us to make such a difference and an impact in the world in a beautiful way. And for your becoming question, has there been a journey in your life that started out with garbage and you have been able to transform into beauty? And if you're not there yet, are you in the middle of it now? Remember, you're not late, you're not behind, you're not finished. You are still in the making. Keep becoming.
Thanks for being here. If you know someone who needs to hear this, send it to them. And if this resonated with you, comment down below. I'd love to keep this conversation going. Make sure to follow along on YouTube and Instagram for daily updates. You can find everything in the description. See you next time.